today I'm going to be working in the garden that is directly next to our accommodation here. We've got two beautiful timber framed roundhouses that we set up back in 2021. So we created these two beautiful gardens to surround them. Our guests have recently checked out, which opens up an opportunity for me to go in there and do a bit of cutting back. There are going to be 5 shrubs that I'm going to be tackling today, mostly just cutting them back. The first section of garden we're going to go to is the one just behind me here. The roundhouse is called Tilia, which is a beautiful botanical name meaning lime tree in Latin. And we are going to be cutting back a hypericum, a Cornus, a leycestria and a grass, and also willow. So we're going to start with the hypericum first, which is right by the gate, just here. And here is this very, very pretty hypericum, and it's got these beautiful golden leaves on it. And I know it is producing new leaves at the moment, but there's also lots coming from the base down here, and I can see we're going to get lots of new growth coming up. And all I'm going to do is cut these away completely to the base and let the new growth come up. Believe it or not, this grew from last year. I know that by cutting it right back, I'm going to get a nice bushier look for this season. By cutting away these will encourage a lot more new growth to come directly from the base. You don't have to cut these hypericums if you don't want to. You can do this every other year. Don't worry too much. Be brave though, it really is worth doing. Sharp pair of secateurs. I'm going to go right down to the bottom, being careful not to disturb the new growth coming, and I'm just going to chop away. And we can now see all that lovely fresh new growth appearing from the base, and all of that will get a good foot or more taller and bush out. It's also had a little baby here. Plants for free. I'm going to leave that one. I'm not going to touch it and let it get bigger. Moving on a bit further down. And we have got these beautiful red stemmed Cornus. I have got about 4 Cornus cybiricas running along here, and it's the perfect spot for them because it catches, as you can see, the evening light, and it catches the morning light coming up from the hills behind me, and they do look absolutely stunning during the winter months. They're just starting to put on some new leaf growth now, which is fine. I've still got some time to cut them back, and what I'm going to do is cut them by about that far from the ground. Now if you've just planted one, I would probably give it a year or two to get its feet in the ground before you start doing any cutting back like I'm about to do. But if you've got some fairly established ones, now's a great time to be doing it. But I'm also going to show you how you can increase your stock. So if you've got any of the cybiricas of the different coloured stems, so you've got some lovely orange stems, yellow stemmed ones, there are 2 ways that I'm going to show you today on increasing your stock levels of them if you wanted to make more plants for free. And the first way to do it is by simply cutting your stem like so and just putting it in some water. I have a bucket here with me, so put it in some nice clean water, and then it will actually start to produce roots. And when it starts to produce roots, you can then put it either in the ground or in some soil and give it to some friends. There's another way of increasing your Cornus cybirica stock, and that is by layering. Last year this is actually layered naturally, so I haven't done this. I didn't prune a particular stem like I will be doing with these ones, and it just stayed lying underneath the leaves here. I must have missed it and didn't notice. And as I've come back today, these two stems off one main stem have rooted. As we come a bit closer to the base of these, so this is attached to the mother plant here, and it has stayed close to the ground all of last year, and it's produced roots. Now these roots have gone right into the ground here and here as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these independent and now these can become their own plant. I'm just going to leave them and push the leaves back over, and we'll come back to them, and hopefully I'm going to have 2 new plants. All done, and we have some in a bucket that I might give away to some friends. But I did notice some very thin new shoots that have come off some of the thicker stems, which I've left, and I've just taken the main stem back because these ones will get much bigger and stronger this year, and we can enjoy them this winter. So just keep that in mind if yours have done the same, but some of you may be either further ahead or further behind, whichever. A little bit further down we've got this, and this is a pussy willow, and it's the pink one, which is, I think, is called Salix Mount Aso. Here's a picture of it. It is beautiful, and that is going to be pollarded as well. That's the name of basically what I've just done with the Cornus and to this as well. By doing that, it'll just come back nice and vigorous and produce more stems. I think this particular variety is quite vigorous in its growth, and you can cut these back every other year if you wanted to, but I tend to do this every year and it still produces lots and lots of stems. I can also do the same principle as I did with the Cornus, and that is to cut a stem and pop it in some water so I can get some roots and pot it up for some friends, which I have promised because everyone likes this one. Right, well, that's put that back in its box. I'm going to leave the mess here for a moment while I just show you the next plant I'm going to be cutting back, and that is this one. And this is called a leycestria, and I have 3 of them here. And what I tend to do is I will cut each one back each year. So this year I'll be cutting this one back and leaving the other 2. I kind of do that to give each one a rest while the other one can be producing. I mean, they all 3 do produce flowers every year, and the flowers are wonderful for cutting and for drying. Just have a look at this picture here. They're really pretty sort of droplet flowers that come off these upright branches, and it's a great plant, and they've got these really pretty leaves as well. So I find this really useful, but it can seed around. So these 3 came from a seedling from another one elsewhere in the garden, but that's okay. It's not invasive, and again, plants for free, and I love that. This again is going to be cut right down to the base. I might thin out the other 2, but I think they're looking perfectly all right, but we'll see a lot better once this one's taken down. That looks a lot tidier and a lot better, and I can see these ones much clearer as well. This will recover brilliantly. I'll get lots of new shoots from it this year, but it's good to give it a year or two's break, which is why it's handy to have these 3 as my backup to cut from, because that's exactly what I do. Now, from these here, I've noticed there are a few dead stems at the bottom, so all I'm going to do is take those away. I've noticed a baby here, which is quite young, so I might leave that and just take away any stragglers from the base. And there aren't many, but it just tidies them all up for this season. I only need secateurs to do this, but loppers were a must for this job. I really want to show you cutting a grass, which is on the other side of the roundhouse, so let's go straight over there now. Such a beautiful evening. You can see those hills, and that is why we positioned our accommodations right here, so that our guests can wake up to those spectacular sunrises. Come on. I've got a couple of grasses here actually. I've got this one here, and I've got another one just to the front of the roundhouse. Oh look, this begonia is flowering. Oh, that's so beautiful. This is a begonia, I think it's Bressingham White, and this was given to me by a girlfriend. Isn't it pretty? Shears certainly make light work when cutting back grasses. And you can get right in. And we are just left with a bit of a stump. Looks quite brutal, doesn't it? But once this is all taken away, in no time at all, we will start to get new growth coming from the base of this, and the whole cycle starts again. And I'm pretty sure this is a pennisetum, and I'll try and dig out a photograph to show you as well. But it's absolutely stunning, and it's the one thing that you can see from inside the roundhouse as well. It's beautiful. The grass I've got here is this miscanthus, and you can kind of tell the difference between them. The pennisetums are a bit more like a fountain, and the miscanthus are more upright. And I'm going to do exactly the same with this one as I did to the other one, and that is using the shears and off with its head. No, that doesn't sound right. Off with the stems. Yeah. Again, left with that bit of a stump, which is already starting to produce new growth I can see coming up. I've got another miscanthus on the other side by Ilex, which is the name of our other roundhouse, which needs cutting back, so I'll get that done as well. I think I timed that pretty well. It's just starting to go a bit darker now, and the sun I can see is just dipping behind the hills over there. Well, I hope this has been really helpful to you, and thank you so much for watching. I'm going to leave you with some beautiful footage of inside and outside of our beautiful accommodation here. I'll also make sure there's a link in my description if you'd like to book and come and stay. Come and see our garden. Next week I will be working in another section of the garden, doing some more cutting back on some other shrubs that we have here. Until then, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.